some breaking news. These are live pictures from southern Lebanon, Marjayoun in southern Lebanon, believed to be Israeli strikes on the city, which is near the border. As this is happening, Hezbollah has confirmed that it has fired rockets into Israel. That's all we have at the moment. We'll have more as we get it, as this breaking story, as it becomes available, and we'll cross to a correspondent just as soon as we can. Let's bring in Marwan Bishara, who's Al Jazeera senior political analyst, joins us now from London. So, Marwan, on this, of course, the Israeli military has been trading fire with Iran-backed Hezbollah across Lebanon's southern border in parallel with the Gaza war, and now we have this apparent escalation of sorts.
Yes, once you get the feeling that that front between Israel and Lebanon tends to heat up and cool off, but mostly heating up. And that's a very worrying development. And somehow I have the eerie feeling that something might actually happen there if there is no ceasefire in Gaza. In fact, one really has to worry that instead of ending one war on Gaza, Netanyahu might be starting another war on Lebanon. And that could definitely have regional implications and repercussions.
And looking at these pictures and everything that we've talked about, all the thoughts and stories about the potential for repercussions in this region, just demonstrates the importance that this ceasefire, the resolution is made over a ceasefire.
Yes, absolutely. And that's why I have been saying that there are more chances today for a ceasefire than before, because it's just simply all the ducks are lined up, except that one peacock called Netanyahu. Really, all the ducks are lined up. There's a need, an urgent regional need not to widen the war. There's a consensus around the world and at the UN Security Council for a ceasefire. The majority of the Israeli public, the majority of the American public, the American administration, Europe, basically everyone, Russia, China, you name it, they want a ceasefire. The only block now towards a ceasefire is, as I said the last few days, is Netanyahu, because he feels, and as the polls in Israel show, his popularity keeps going up as long as he keeps selling himself as a war hero, as a war statesman, as a wartime leader. The latest poll in Israel shows him higher than everyone else, actually, in fact. So he's benefiting personally and politically, ideologically, from the suffering of the Palestinians and from the possibility or the potential of a widening war.
We've been hearing from the White House in the last hour saying that they see the Gaza talks as constructive, and the security chief calling on Hamas to get involved in these talks, to participate directly in these talks. Will they?
Well, it depends on how far the Egyptians have gone with the Israelis about Israeli insistence that they have to have a military presence in 3 different parts of Gaza, including in the middle of Gaza. Because Hamas originally agreed to the earlier proposal adopted by the UN Security Council that basically foresees Israel withdrawing its troops from Gaza. It's already a destroyed territory. It's already, most of its people are displaced. And really, it makes absolutely no sense whatsoever for Israel to play the occupying power with zero responsibility for the people inhabiting the Strip. So the idea of Israel need to withdraw, it needs to withdraw. And Hamas probably not going to get involved until there is an understanding, there is a commitment that Netanyahu is going to pull the troops. If he continues to add up and continues to undermine the negotiations or the deal by adding more Israeli conditions, insisting on Israeli military presence in Gaza, you could see that Hamas would basically find no reason whatsoever to engage. Now, if you add to that Netanyahu every day and every night emphasizes that he will never, ever sign on a deal that signals the end of the war, meaning he wants to resume the war once several weeks have passed, you can see why Hamas and the Palestinians in general are not exactly comfortable with the ongoing negotiations.
All right, Marwan, just hang on there for us, if you would. I just want to cross to Beirut now. We've got Zeina, our correspondent, on the phone line there. And Zeina, just before I come to you, just to repeat these pictures we're looking at, smoke on the horizon there, believed to be following Israeli strikes on the city of Marjayoun, which is near the border. Hezbollah has also confirmed that it's fired rockets into Israel. So, Zeina, what's the latest that you're hearing?
Well, in recent days, Israel has intensified its strikes on villages along the border. The black smoke that you're now seeing billowing from a border town, that's the border town of Khiam. Usually, journalists are able to see the exchange of fire from Marjayoun, a town which has been largely spared from the fighting. So Israel has repeatedly hit Khiam in the past 10 months since Hezbollah started to fire at Israel in support of Gaza. Khiam is an area which is a town which is largely evacuated. It's a very similar situation along the 120-kilometer border. Now, Israel in recent days has said that it will hit Hezbollah hard following a strike on Wednesday, when Hezbollah targeted the occupied Syrian Golan Heights. Now, Hezbollah said it targeted a military base in the occupied Golan Heights, but some of those rockets landed in residential areas. According to Israeli media, 60 homes were destroyed and damaged in that Hezbollah attack. Really, what we've been seeing is a steady escalation in this conflict, this war of attrition. Both sides, Israel and Hezbollah, expanding their attacks, reaching new areas on both sides of the border. And no longer, for example, Hezbollah is no longer just focusing its attacks in the 5-kilometer zone, that deep zone which has been mostly evacuated. It is now hitting military targets as far as 20 kilometers inside Israel. But still, in the larger picture, both sides are still confining their targets to military bases. But like I said, on Wednesday, the strike in the occupied Golan Heights hurt the Israelis, and they were saying that they were promising an intensification of their strikes on Lebanon. And really, this is what we have been seeing in recent days, a series of airstrikes in border villages.
And of course, what it does, again, remind us of is that this tit-for-tat escalation could actually develop into something wider that could envelop the whole region.
Well, no doubt. There is fear. There is fear across the country. This conflict may be largely confined to the border area, but its impact is being felt in Beirut. Every now and then, Israeli warplanes break the sound barrier, causing sonic booms and creating panic in the capital. Traffic is thin. Many people have left the capital to areas further north, fearing that Israel may widen its attacks. There's a lot of concern that Hezbollah's promised retaliation for the killing of its top commander nearly a month ago could trigger a harsh Israeli response. Now, Lebanon and Hezbollah, through its words and actions, have made it clear time and time again that it does not want a full-on war, that it opened this front in solidarity with Gaza, and it believes that by targeting areas in northern Israel puts pressure, helps relieve pressure on Gaza, and the very fact that tens of thousands of Israelis have been forced from their homes also puts more pressure on the Israeli government. But they don't want to expand this conflict. They've made that very clear. But the feeling here is that Israel's intentions are what is not clear, and that Israel could be shifting the focus from Gaza to the northern front. This was something the Israeli defense minister, Yoav Gallant, said a few days ago. He said that, as war is winding down in Gaza, we're shifting our focus to the northern front. So no doubt there is a lot of concern here. There's a lot of concern that, this steadily escalating conflict could expand even further. But there are others who also believe this will be a controlled escalation because neither side, nor Hezbollah or Israel, wants war. Hezbollah is not Hamas. Hezbollah has military capabilities, much stronger military capabilities. Its missiles, its precision-guided missiles can hit all across Israel and cause damage.
All right, Zeina, thanks for that update. Zeina Khodr there.